Out of the trailer.
She's using the apartments on 6th Street.
Yeah,
Oh, she does, okay.
yeah.
I drove through there the other night, was wondering that.
Yeah, I know
I
that.
usually see her VW bug and stuff, so.
Know that.
She moved out of the trailer.
Yep.
The guy that was in here the other night, that night.
Yeah,
Right here.
he bought it.
I missed the time.
Oh, he bought it, he bought the
What's
trailer
that?
from
I missed the deadline to send it in, sorry.
For what?
Finance officer of the year.
Oh,
You're the best one I dealt
She
with.
actually moved out before the meeting.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Mine's working.
I can't get it.
You didn't get the pink slip in the mail?
Don't have to tell me when it hits 7. I got my hard copy and that's all I got with me.
You?
Thanks.
Thank you.
Drops out. He's probably walking.
In the rain, yeah.
If he is, no one give him a
There he
ride.
is.
Agreed?
What's that?
If he walked, no one give him a ride home.
Yeah, my car.
Sorry.
Social distancing.
I just didn't bring, because I figured that's what we were doing.
Harder again,
It is. Or just more noisy here.
Oh, Justin, I cut two bags.
Only cost me about $15 to set in my garden. Now here for that hard freeze, another $15.
He's also looking.
We're not gonna have a hard freeze, are we?
It's
Probably the end of the week.
So,
Really?
Yeah,
Like what, 30 degrees?
20.
What?
20s?
Hope you guys all got your sprinkler
Well, I
systems
better
full.
find a sprinkler system.
Yeah, I won't do anything to that.
I have such a.
they wanted us to put the number for the vehicle, that's what they wanted.
Yep, you're
Well,
right.
when did that
I told
change?
them, we don't need
Well, I
that,
put it
we'll
in
take it to
last week,
So
when
I'm
the
not
kids
going
did,
to
so.
get back with Midco, just so that they can port the number over, so that we can.
I've got
Great
32.
timing.
So I'll be covered, that's how that works. They
Yeah.
put the garden in and also,
Well, that happens in your
So
place
now
too.
with the deal
yeah, we
with
can get to take care of everything after that.
Boost's corn is up about 1.5 inches.
Yeah, that corn popped up. There's a lot of corn up.
That'd be pretty bad.
That'll be fun.
Will it?
It's got a, it's got a
7 o'clock. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you for coming in. There is one addition to the agenda. We will have a short executive session on personnel after the meeting tonight. Does anybody else have any other changes?
Does anything need to be on here about the parade?
No, we don't. We're good at it.
Okay.
I'm going to be asking for a work session with Parks and Rec people. Justin's going to be doing the recommendation, so we'll have that set up with the whole council and them, so we all can hear. Last night was an interesting meeting, and I just think we all need to hear what some of the thoughts are and some of the problems and concerns.
Do you have a date set?
I have not set that yet.
Okay.
But I figured I was telling them I might have an emergency meeting with them because there's enough questions and stuff. But then I thought, let's have everybody hear what's being said and they can hear from us. Okay, we'll be getting that out this week probably sometime. Let me see. I I don't have anything else, so then I would ask for an approval of the agenda as
So
presented.
moved.
We'll give it to Brock and then, Chad
Bowers.
Chad Bowers. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign, all right. Anything for visitors to be heard? All right. Right, we'll move on to that and get into the meat and potatoes of it. Go ahead, Nathan.
Thank you, Mayor. On the COVID-19 item under new business tonight, there's two items. The first is ordinance 610. This is a temporary ordinance to address the public health crisis by implementing measures to slow the spread of the disease. The ordinance in front of you is taken with a lot of help from Del Rapids. They had passed this ordinance, I believe it was last Wednesday night at their council meeting. Fair number of other local communities are doing something similar. I think Sioux Falls is gonna be close to, pretty similar to this at 50% capacity. But I'll go through the sections here. Under section 1, that's simply definitions. I don't think there's any confusion about what we have in there. I do include some things that we don't necessarily have in Lennox, but just keeps it as broad as we possibly can. Under the private businesses definitions, which sets out what types of businesses this ordinance does not apply to, so grocery stores, markets, retail stores. Essentially, the stores and businesses that are already exempt from the current ordinance would continue to be exempt from this ordinance. Recreational facilities, restaurants, those kinds of things would still apply. Under section Under B, section B, city-owned property, there's one adjustment I want to make to that based on last night's discussion and then also what's in the COVID-19 response plan that we'll look at after the ordinance. Under 1E there, playground equipment, basketball courts, tennis courts, baseball and softball fields would remain to be closed. I strike that section and leave that as is, and we can cover that in the COVID-19 response plan instead. It allows us to be a little bit more nimble on responding to those than otherwise would. I know Sioux Falls has opened their parks at this point. I think some of their courts remain closed. I think their ball fields will remain closed as well.
No organized practices.
Right.
But I think
But you can gather.
You can use them.
Yeah. And facilities there might be closed too.
They are.
Have they had discussions on that about teams or anything like that, or not?
Here.
Sioux Falls?
Or
have you heard like, well, we're gonna wait a little while?
Mayor, you were on the call last week. The last I had heard is that they're not going to do any summer recreational programming, pools or other. And I don't know if that's changed.
The pool's hard line on that. It doesn't look good, but it's not ruled out yet. On the call, a number of the cities on their pools and rec are pretty much on the negative side of that. They've left some room when I made announcements that we were trying to look at it. They left some room for opening it up, but it doesn't look too good right now. Pools, everyone that had a pool, it was pretty much said that they weren't going to open it. Got a little bit of feedback from our county commission, and they said we should really look at it and think about it.
Opening it?
Yeah, is that about, that might not be a good thing. So,
Who said that? The county commission?
just Jim Schmidt is the one that I talked to from that. He's the only one that,
What was it? Did he have a reasoning or?
he just felt like it might not be in the best interest. And I can do some follow-up, as the weeks go by, things change. And I'd like to I might call up Mike too. I think I'll start reaching out to a few of them to get more feedback and on it.
But why? I don't get that. If you don't, if you're nervous about it, don't go swimming.
I'm just telling you what he said, I can't tell you all the thoughts behind it.
The conversations I've had around the state with other towns, the opening pools has been a twofold reason that they aren't. The biggest one is financial. They're going to lose money already on the pool. They're worried that if tax revenues have changed significantly, they're not gonna have money to operate a pool anyway, so just not open it. The second one is the difficulty of staffing a pool at this point. They decided early on not to hire seasonal staff as a precaution, and at this point in the year, it'd be very difficult for them to turn back on that.
So we don't have either of those two problems really right now, as of today, do we?
Well, we will lose money on the pool.
No, I'm saying the tax.
That's a given anyway.
Yes, everybody does.
But the tax revenue is
I
pretty
do not have
flat,
that concern right now.
and we have the staff.
We do.
When I talked to,
Where our difficulty is going to be in the pool is really on, we have one staff that needs certification yet for lifeguard, and we have only one that's water safety instructor certified. So only one staff can do swimming lessons at this point. I think we can find others that we can help fill in on those. But those are some of the challenges that we'll come up with for staff.
Well, maybe if, like, T doesn't open their pool, maybe they have some staff that has the lifeguard training.
Right.
And then we can contract them to come down and teach swimming lessons.
Yep.
when I talked to Governor Nolan on a phone call that she had with the mayors, she indicated that if we were to open it, we should look very hard at how we open it, how we clean, how we prepare our staff, how we keep social distancing, and several of those questions, and the number of kids or people that we let in. Do we do it in shifts, like we maybe talked about? Do we clean after each, well, we'd have to clean after each shift. We'll have to get the cleaning supplies. There's a lot of different things that go on. So she didn't say don't open it. She just said it should look pretty different than having 300 kids in a pool at the same time. We need to really look at how, if we're gonna open it, how we're gonna do that. And it's gonna look a lot different in my mind's eye than it won't be the normal pool season, was her heavy recommendation. And Nate was listening to that too, and that's all, because I asked her point blank about it. So.
So the meat and potatoes of this ordinance is essentially limiting businesses to 50% occupancy. I don't know that many locations have their occupancy posted, but this does require them to post what that occupancy would be at this point. What would the maximum allowed occupancy be based on what they're approved by the fire marshal? So they'll have to, that burden will be on the business owner to find that and post it. But beyond that, very little else. In terms of enforcement, we kept the language on class 1 and class 2 misdemeanors for first and second offenses that we had in the original ordinance. And there's general guidance to the citizens of Lennox just in terms of following CDC best hygiene practices. If you're in a vulnerable population, to isolate to the extent possible, so on and so forth. The ordinance remains in effect until May 27th. And again, it would be readopted or repealed by resolution. So every council meeting, we would readdress this, either readopting an additional period of time or repealing the ordinance altogether. Upon the effective date of this ordinance, which will be the second reading, not 5 days after the second reading, or 20 days, excuse me, we'll also repeal the current ordinance 608 that restricts to 10 or fewer. So once this ordinance passes second reading, the old ordinance of 10 or fewer goes away, and the new ordinance of 50% occupancy goes into place.
And when does this take effect then after the second reading? 5 days after?
It will be immediately.
Okay, which will be, the second reading will be,
May 11 at this point.
gotcha, next Monday.
So this will basically supplant our other one that we had. I asked specifically with the one we have right now will stay in place until you guys accept this or version of this.
And that's just state law, right?
Pardon?
That's all the
That's
faster
state
we
law.
can do it.
That we can.
That's as efficient as we can do it, right?
Yes, yeah, well, we could move the second reading up a couple days. Tuesday, Wednesday.
5 days.
Move it up to Saturday.
Saturday.
If we agree, why would we move it up? Just get it as soon as possible.
We can,
Yeah,
I'm okay with it.
and that's why I was hoping to have it last week. Cause I figured we'd have 5.
Right.
So can we move it up earlier
Yeah, all we
in the
need
day?
for another.
But I mean, in the day, can we do it at like 11?
I think the language of the law says 5 days. And I think we should assume that a day means 24 hours. If we can do it earlier, I'll see if we can.
Just saying it'd be a nice boost for our business owners if people go out and have supper that day.
Yep.
So there's, since it's not major differences, you can't just adjust the one we currently have? I thought there was something to that when we made small
That's between
changes.
readings, I believe.
Yeah, so it would, if we were to make changes to the current ordinance, it would really not be all that different from instituting a new ordinance, because they would consider that a substantive change. I think the ordinance itself, is it tackling the same issue? Yes. But the language and the requirements of it are separate. So it would be best for us to do it as a first and second reading rather than as a revised 608.
So it sounds like Saturday we're gonna be meeting at the earliest convenient time. Or is it earliest legal time?
And we'll be here after work.
Good.
Want us to call you, give you a break?
It's as busy as it is in the last 2 weeks, it won't work.
You've been a lot of pickups. I mean, a pickup and calls.
Well, feel free to call if you get some time.
You need anything on this?
I think if we, no, I don't think so. I think it's clear there's a sense of the council to have this meeting on Saturday, and that's enough.
Or half.
So then the consensus is first reading has been achieved and we'll meet on Saturday at the.
So basketball courts, tennis courts are closed?
Not really.
So
They're not right now, are
they are right now.
Yeah.
they? They are right now.
They are right now.
This will open them up.
If we're good with the ordinance first reading, then we can move on to the other document, the
Yeah.
COVID-19
So
plan.
by striking what you said, that opens them up.
Yeah, so by having that language in there conflicts with the COVID-19 response plan that I put in there.
attachment. There.
So, basically, you know, there's, changes made to that COVID-19 plan. At this point, we're keeping the ball fields closed, but everything else would open back up. Now, we're still not opening the restrooms or any of that stuff. Same for the campground, we're not opening anything there. So we're still assuming that we're gonna have, somewhat reduced usage there this summer, but at the same, I think Dawn said last week, we are pretty much full at this point,
Mhm.
so,
And we keep getting calls.
you know,
At the campground?
Yep.
Mhm.
There's somebody in there now, I think.
There might be, I think it opened up May 1st.
yeah, and we got the water back on.
Yeah, I drove by today and there's somebody camping.
What's,
It's crazy.
just a question, I mean, we'll open the tennis courts, the basketball court and the playgrounds, but why wouldn't we open the ball fields for unorganized use?
What that happened, I think we can adjust that. The reason I kept it at the ball field stay closed is based on discussion last night's park board meeting. There was a question and discussion around if we close recreation programming, baseball, softball, t-ball this summer, are we going to, but the fields are still open, does that mean that our, amateur legion, can those other organized groups, use the field if they're open, but not otherwise being used by the city? So I think we just need some time to consider how we do that, and that'll come up next week, Monday at the council meeting.
I guess I would.
I think if we were to open them for unorganized use or, you know, pickup game kind of stuff, I'd be fine with that.
And that, I guess that was the gist of my question.
No,
If a dad wanted to take their kid out there and just play catch or something,
absolutely, yep,
they can do that.
absolutely,
I think.
Well, we probably, if we're gonna do that, we better get the net up on the big field then, sooner rather than later.
yeah. We do it tomorrow, but I think it's gonna be a little soft out there.
Let's get them a ladder.
And a helmet.
I'll come watch.
What's the best way to put that? Just unorganized use or?
I'd say,
Yeah, I mean, just leave it kind of, it's common sense at this point, right?
No
Yeah.
team sports.
Right.
There you go.
Um,
No organized practices.
yeah. If you could work on getting that up with the boys this week.
have we set out, I mean, this kind of wraps up, like, have we sent out, like, what does our populace think about all that? Have we sent out a survey or anything yet?
Yeah, Justin's got one ready,
We need to send that out.
think so.
I think
There was a
so.
fair amount of discussion last night, about that.
Yep.
I think
And I'm not saying,
survey.
I just am curious to see what their attitudes are towards it. I still wanna see how it's possible, because I don't understand how this is possible. Or if the fears are, well, if we have T-ball or we have Little League, how the elderly population who's supposed to be sheltered in place is possibly gonna get COVID. I don't understand. They're not supposed to be out there.
Right.
And so the argument, I don't get it. I want someone to tell me how that's possible. Because if you can go to a Home Depot and you can go to a grocery store and you can go to a pharmacy and you can go to other places indoors and have 100 people in there, which were there last week at Home Depot. I can't believe you can't be outside with young kids. I don't know how that, I think they're mutually exclusive, and I don't know how you can prove to me another way how that works.
The only thing that I see is, these kids have grandparents and that, and some of that. And there's a lot, and it's a good discussion to have, you know. I'm not firm on either way. I hear what your argument is, but I also want to look at what the studies are showing and what's coming back from the beaches being open and stuff, because that'd be like mutually exclusive, kind of. So I'm just curious to see what data shows us out there, what we get back. And like we all know, everything changes every week to 2 weeks, and we get new data in. So we just need to delve into it. And that's why I think we have this meeting with us and Park and Rec, so we can kind of vet things out and look at how we're gonna do this, how it will look, because there was a lot of questions. One thing that came through is we probably don't need to order new jerseys, but maybe hats, because we have enough jerseys to cover, was one of the things brought out. So I think we just need to have a talk as a full group and kind of figure this one out so we can go through it. The other thing is planning and setup time. We just have to get this down and get to it. And there's a lot of people that talk to a lot of different organizations. Justin's going to be delving into a lot of that and come back with a recommendation for us all to consider.
Could we?
Because we need to get,
Sorry.
when are we gonna have the plan or respond, whatever?
Legion.
Wednesday is when we'll,
When, okay, because I mean, I've been around enough baseball stuff to know that it takes time to get it set up, so we
It does,
kinda
yeah.
just need to make a decision.
That's one of our.
Either we open full tilt, or B, we don't. I mean, that's just,
I'd like to see the survey, even if we only
yeah,
get
no,
30%.
we need to get the survey out.
I mean, we can even emailing it to them, we have that ability, but we could get it on Facebook, whatever. They might make the decision for us.
Yeah.
We might have 100 people respond, and 99 of them say, no how, no way, I want my
I mean, I
kids in
took a
this."
survey today about
Decisions made, might be the other way.
Yeah.
umpiring baseball for the South Dakota Umpires Association. I mean, are you planning on umpiring this year? If so, what restrictions would you like to see in place and some of those things?
And I'm not gonna sit here and get all emotional hoot and holler, like, whether we do it or whether we don't, like, I'm not emotionally attached to that. Common sense wants to tell me, I don't understand how an elderly couple who stay at home, whether we have a T-ball league or whether we don't have a T-ball league, the elderly couple stays home. Do you get what I'm saying?
Or a pool.
Right, the
Or
pool
a
goes
pool.
the same way. And if we do open up, or in regards to teams, and you have a concern about your child getting COVID, or you don't play, like if I had a concern about that, I wouldn't force everybody else not to comply with that. You
That
know,
was one of the points that was brought out on assigning teams and stuff, so there's a lot of issues. I think, it's gonna come out Wednesday, and pretty soon after that, I'd like to have the meeting between us and the Park and Rec and hammer it out.
Yeah.
I mean, so everybody can have be a part of the conversation, so it's not just me bringing back what I heard, but I want rather have you guys hear it and respond to the questions and concerns, and pretty much like Chad Riley said, you know, if we're gonna get going, we need to look at how we're gonna make this look and.
Well, and I don't think people care about getting a baseball hat. My kids just wanna go have fun, play ball.
We'll have that discussion.
We can get that survey out tonight. Justin said it's 6 questions. We can add one about the pool, though, you know, our plan was to send this to the people that registered, so, just send it out to the.
Add the pool.
Okay.
I mean, if you
We
can
can
get,
throw it on Facebook and we can add it to, we can email it to all the registrants tonight, sports,
That'd be good.
Make that happen.
be awesome.
Have that feedback. You know, I think we need to, the direction given to Justin last night was have a plan on Wednesday. So whatever feedback we have by Wednesday, I think, you know, that goes into the plan. We may get more after that, if we keep it open, but I can close it too, so.
Have you heard from other towns, Justin?
Yeah, I have. I've talked with Jeff Portner with Prairie Grass League, and he's involved with T. Right now, they're on the fence of it. I spoke with the VFW today. They're a go with it, but they're just kind of waiting until other towns
More
decide.
time, right.
That's kind of where everyone is right now, is deciding what towns are deciding.
T's next Tuesday, I know their mayor texted me, because he asked if we made a decision. I said,
Well, I talked to Rob Lind at the VFW. He's a personal friend of mine. He told me that the I-29 League is canceled,
Yes.
and
That came out today.
and the Mid-Dakota League is canceled. So,
I
that's-
think-
he said, he thought that was about 65 teams across all the VFW demographic,
Wow.
which is a big number for, I mean, you talked to Rob, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And do those teams then, those 65 teams, do they play?
Just the league
Right.
has disbanded.
So that's the league, that's the
that
team.
doesn't mean the towns.
Yeah, that doesn't mean they're not
themselves
playing.
can't-
So
that's-
that's- So I also talked to some Legion coaches. I talked to John Maris over in Hartford. I talked to Anderson and Todd here. And I talked to another guy up in Dells or in Salem, excuse me. And whether they have a Legion state tournament, region tournament, anything, they're still planning on getting together and playing games.
And there was a game this weekend.
There was an
in
amateur,
Hampton.
there was an amateur game this weekend between
Lesterville and-
Lesterville and Mount Vernon.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think some of to get to some of your questions, Brock, about, you know, the rationale, it's not just a COVID-19 thing either, a lot of it is logistics, and pulling this off in, you know, so many weeks, after just kind of being in the wind for a while, that is a challenge. I think we can do it, but again, the sooner we make that decision, the better, which is why, you know, Wednesday we
Right.
asked for this plan.
And I don't
If we
think,
wanna consider that plan at Saturday's meeting, I would suggest doing it then, so that we can at least move forward.
and I do think it's gonna look different. I think the pool's gonna look different. I mean, that pool's got a capacity of maybe 260. I expect it to go like, we're gonna open up for 50 or whatever. I mean, I expect and understand the social distancing. I respect those measures. But over time, when the data says something different, you know, I guess, in my personal opinion, I don't care what Beersford or Canton or what other towns are doing. Like, I care what the data says and the effect of what this has on, for the kids in the population, you know? Because the only study that's been done out there is about 2,500 kids, and out of the 2,500, 0 to 18, there's a 0.12% chance of someone dying. 3 out of the 2,500. So that's all, that's it. I mean, the science tells me that, and I do get like older people and people immunosuppressed, like they got a shelter in place, and I feel terrible for them. I think that's awful. But at some point, you're going to have to come away from this, and the experts say, in order to really get over this, 70 to 80% of the population is going to have COVID. They're gonna have to get it. I'm sorry to be a bearer of bad news, but that's just a reality. Like, that's science, and that's virology, and that's how this works. And so whether we do it now, or whether we do it in August or September, or whether we do it in November when the temperatures drop and this thing comes back, like when do we make that decision? Or do we just shut it down? And if we're going to shut it down for the percentage of what the data says, we probably should never play, and I know that sounds awful, but the data because of influenza, and the data because of a choking hazard, and the data that says how many are gonna die in a car accident. Like, those stats are even more or worse than the COVID issue. I mean, when it comes down to the science by far. And I'm just giving you the data. I'm not trying to be, well, I wanna go rogue and go again. That's not it at all. I'm just saying what the data and the science and the facts say. We're shutting this off and going to continue to shut it off because why? Because the science doesn't say to do that. We could have had the state tournaments. Now that's all Monday morning quarterback stuff, because you didn't know then when it first started. We know now more than we did 2 months ago, and we're gonna know more in a month, you know, and maybe it's later, maybe it's June 15. I mean, you know, I don't know, but.
I think that's all for the discussion.
Are the hospitals opening up elective surgeries?
Yes,
Yes.
they already have.
I mean, they're doing just,
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing was we're gonna stop because we don't want this influx, okay?
no,
Well, I know, and I know.
to me,
preaching
if
the choir.
they're going,
I mean, they're easing into it, but they are doing it.
But when you have 600 furloughed and 1,500 at Avera that are removed from their jobs, I mean, that's also a piece of this thing.
well, just getting back to normals.
Right.
I mean, to me, if they're doing those surgeries again and they're not worried about a spike or anything like that, then.
Right, and if the community and if this council doesn't wanna, like, I'm not, okay, I mean, I'm not gonna, that's fine, but I'm just trying to be here's what the data says. Let's make a decision based on the data, not what Canton does.
Right. So we'll have that meeting, we'll get the recommendation out Wednesday.
Should we, if we wanna bring this up for discussion or a decision at the Saturday meeting, is there a desire to have that work session with the park board early?
I would think so. If we wanna bring this up, I think we get the whole discussion, so we're all rowing in the same direction.
What were some takeaways of last night's meeting from them? Do the majority of them don't wanna do it, they wanna do it, they don't, you know, I don't know. Everywhere on the board, it's every
That, all the
direction.
above, yes, there really wasn't a sense of direction last night, which is, essentially how we came to the point of saying, okay, let's have Justin come up with a plan. You know, this is his baby at this point anyway, let's have him come up with a plan and present that for approval. I think there were great points and great discussion all over the place.
Mhm.
But in terms of, was there a moment where everybody said, yes, we should do this, or yes, we shouldn't do this? No, I don't think there's any consensus there at all.
No, just enough questions and stuff for me to say, like, let's all get together and grow. And the same thing was brought up about the survey being done then too, so. We get our input from the community that we can get, we'll get everybody together and kinda hash this out, because we have to make a decision whether it's later in the year or whatever, we just need to come up with something, or if it's what. I just know that June 1st sounds like it was stressful and pushing it, so we have to look at how we can get this done. And you guys have been on that board before, and a lot of you, and it's just a good discussion to have. So we'll try to set it up earlier than we have that for our discussion.
Yeah, I think if, you know, by close of business Wednesday, we should have a plan. We can do a work session Thursday, Friday, or even Saturday right before our meeting. I think that would be doable as well.
Yeah, I'm open for all those days, but yeah, just so we all can get together and have the canoe pointed in the same direction.
so we are amending this document to keep the baseball fields closed to structured team activities, or how is the wording going to
That'd be a
be?
good way to put it. Closed for structured use, no team sports or organized practices.
Are we gonna police it? And how do we police it?
I got.
You've been down
I
at the
got
park, how do you
binoculars.
police it? What do you, I mean,
You
what
wait
do you
until
somebody calls in and complains, and then you send the officer down.
Sioux Falls sent some more officers down to.
We've had a few, I don't think we've had a ton of calls, we've had just a couple here and there, but honestly, I think what we'd see more is one of us will be going through the park and somebody's on a swing and we have to say, hey, I know you wanna be out here.
Get off!
Get off the grass!
Get off my lawn!
You know, and that's typically what has to happen, and we haven't had any, you know, there really hasn't been any kickback from that
I don't think
I think folks understand.
No.
For the next couple of weeks.
No, I think really the people.
I don't know, I saw some people down on the old football field last night.
That's open. You
No, I
can't-
know, but I mean, there was 4, 5, 6 people down there.
They're on the, I can look out my deck any day.
I-
They're on the football field, they're on
Yeah, they just, people.
they're gonna find a way to do it.
I mean, we've had, I guess you could probably call them organized activities in my backyard.
We got drag races
I wasn't
in my
invited.
What?
neighborhood.
I wasn't invited, I exceeded the weight limit to the bounce.
No, this was baseball practice. Ace was out hitting ground balls to his little brother. We just gotta find a way to try to get back to normal as soon and
So-
safe as possible.
Just to make sure I've got everything clear here, we'll figure out what the earliest possible time we can meet for the second reading. We'll get the survey out tonight, we'll have a question about the pool. We'll look for a work session later this week, whenever is practical, with Park Board, after we have the plan on Wednesday.
Yep, perfect.
Okay.
Okay, I need a motion to go into exec, so moved. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Both same sign?
We're gonna take a recess.
Yeah, short recess.
What's he?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think they're in.
I thought there's one more.
I think it sounds like they're, what I was told is they are going